like a lot of Khmer people, like they don't know how to express their emotions unless it's with anger because they don't know how to have healthy conversations before it gets to that point. They just let it bottle up until it just comes out in anger because that's the only way they feel like they know how to express their emotions, which is a big problem because then it just like nothing gets solved when you're just yelling at each other, you know?
Very good. That's why your mom always call you Ashley, right?
Uh,
Because when you speak up and you try to communicate
yeah,
with
that's
her,
another thing. So
instead of she thinking that you want to explain something to her,
yeah,
and then she think that you are trying to fight her back, right?
Yeah, or just like be disrespectful. Like a lot of times, like my parents, they're not used to the idea of their kids
Standing back.
standing up for themselves. My name is Ethan.
ហើយឈ្មោះខ្មែរឈ្មោះអី
My Khmer name is Sodian.
So next question, what do you think about the difference between American culture and Cambodian culture, especially that you was born over here in the United States, but you were raised Cambodian parent. Do you see it's difficult for you?
When I was younger, yeah, definitely more when I was younger. Now, like, I'm fine. It doesn't affect me, but it definitely did as a kid.
Like what are they?
I think that a lot of the family relationship dynamics are completely different in countries like Cambodia compared to America. And there's pros and cons to each, but like, you know, I grew up in America and, you know, in America is like, they believe a lot in, how do I put this? They believe a lot in individuality as well as like standing up for yourself and actually making sure that people don't mess with you. And it's like, hey, like, don't let people just step all over you and don't let people disrespect you. Like, stand up for yourself, you know? Like, people always talk about that when they grow up. Like, at least for like American
at
kids,
school?
I feel like, yeah, just in general in life.
Okay.
Like, a lot of times it's like American parents, especially like a white American parents, like not other immigrants, because other immigrants have this issue too. It's not just
Yeah.
Cambodian people, but they're very. I think they're much more vocal to their kids, like teaching them like life lessons and communicating, like, hey son, like, you know, when you go into school, like if you deal with this or if this kid picks on you, like you better tell him like don't mess with me. Like they actually like instill like those types of I guess like lessons in their kids. Like they tell them.
Tell them to
Well,
stand up for themselves.
yeah, stuff like
what
that.
about Khmer parents?
Yeah, they don't communicate that. The only thing that we really talked about, at least specifically in my house growing up, was just education. But when it came to other aspects of life, like socializing, like how to be confident, how to view the world, even like even those other types of topics, like they never get touched on. And I think that like a big difference with like Khmer households and American households is that Khmer people, they don't know how to I mean, I don't want to like say everyone, but just like generally, like they don't really know how to communicate, especially their more like intimate feelings or like things that are deeper than the surface level. They might, you can tell by their energy if they're upset or something, but a lot of times they don't want to communicate that. And I just feel like that causes more problems and it does more harm than in good because it's like you're not used to speaking your heart and speaking your mind. And it's like even if you feel like it's uncomfortable in the moment, it's supposed to be uncomfortable. Like it's not fun to talk about things, but you need to talk about it because if you don't, if you throw things under the rug, like it only builds up more and more until it turns into an argument. And I feel like a lot of Khmer people, like they don't know how to express their emotions unless it's with anger because they don't know how to have healthy conversations before it gets to that point. They just let it bottle up until it just comes out in anger because that's the only way they feel like they know how to express their emotions, which is a big problem because then it just like nothing gets solved when you're just yelling at each other, you know?
Very good. That's why your mom always call you Ashley, right? Because when you speak up and you try to communicate with her,
that's another thing. So
instead of she thinking that you want to explain something to her, and then she think that you are trying to fight her back, right?
Yeah, or just like be disrespectful. Like a lot of times, like my parents, they're not used to the idea of their kids
standing
up for themselves or expressing their side of the
Feeling.
story, their opinions. So this is a problem that I feel like a lot of my parents have, is that they have the mentality of like, oh, like it doesn't matter who's right. It's because I'm older. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't believe that at all, because in my life I've seen people that are extremely smart and young. And I've seen people that are extremely old and dumb. So I've seen both sides of the spectrum, and I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to say that like you don't get smart with age, you don't get wisdom with age, but to only use that as the one factor to decide who's right or wrong, I just think it's stupid, because there's so many other variables at play. And I think that like I wish that my parents would understand that their kids are human beings too, and not to like see them as like some other entity that deserves less respect and that doesn't deserve to have their thoughts and feelings heard, because they were in their shoes when they were kids. Like everyone goes through those stages of life. So you need to, and even if the things that your kids are going through right now, you think it's not a big deal, they're kids. Like what's a big deal to them might not be a big deal to you, but at that stage of life, it's a big deal for them. So you have to like keep that in mind and treat them with the sensitivity, even if you don't necessarily agree with what they think or they feel. Like you have to understand that they're in a different stage of life, and you should still give them the respect that you should give any human being if you want to actually have a relationship with them. Because if you don't talk to them, if it's a one-way conversation and there's no like talking back to you, then you might think you're close with them if you literally have no idea like what your kid like does. But like if you really thought about it, I feel like too like a lot of parents, I'm not even speaking just about my parents, but like parents, like they don't even know their kid. They don't know their kid that well. And then like then they wonder why, like, oh, why doesn't my kid talk to me? Why doesn't my kid tell me this, tell me that? Well, like they never stop to think like maybe it's something they did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
actually you cannot blame on them, because when I was raised, my parents taught me not to say anything when adults speaking. You have to keep your mouth shut. If we say something, then we got yelled. So I never spoke. Yeah, we got in trouble.
Yeah, I get that. It's like a culture of like a lot of it is respect, and a lot of it is like you got to stay in your lane, you got to stay in your place.
Yeah.
And you can't break out of it, which I don't personally agree with, but I do agree that you should respect people. And you should respect people that are older than you, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be right all the time, because in my experience, they're not, right?
Actually, there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about the Khmer parenting, and I don't think we can put it all on this video. So we're going to jump to the next question.